So far that's our dynamic array we implement for now. You have default constructor, you have destructor function. So like we say, we're using the dynamic memory. So the next one we need to talk about is what is the copy constructor and what is assignment operator. So that's more detail. Again, earlier I kind of explained to you what is copy constructor, but then we need to talk about more in detail. So the copy constructor actually is you have two different syntax we call the copy constructor. The first one is you create one array called DA. So then we want to create another array, static array we call DB. But when we create that, we right away assign they are the same as DA. So this one you look like you code assignment operator, but it's not because the DB just being created. So whenever a new object being created, they will call constructor. So they call the constructor function if just like this, stand alone, they call default constructor function. But for this one, when they create, but they're using another object to assign the same. So this one actually, they are not called default constructor. They call copy constructor. So then you will see the same thing. This one is in the static array. So the dynamic array will be the same thing. Your dynamic array, you will have the double. Okay, so we have the DA, capacity is 100. But now let's create another DB dynamic array. But here at the same time, when I create that, I assign they are equal to another object. So then they call the copy constructor. So actually these two lines, they are equivalent to like this. Actually they are look like they're using assignment operator, but they actually is like the DB, the new object, they're using another resource object passing by the parameter. So these two, they are equivalent to the static array like this. Like you passing the source object into the argument, passing argument. So the same thing, this one, they passing the source object into the constructor function. So this constructor function we call the copy constructor. So for array, if they are dynamic allocated, it's very important. Because if we don't try to write the copy constructor function, they will always using the equal sign to assign the data attribute in the object one by one. For example, you see here, that's our data, right? So sometimes when we say we have object actually is only contain the data attribute in the object. So when we try to copy from another resource object, they were just using all the attribute, they're using the equal sign to assign. So the cap equal to another cap, that's okay because they are the immediate value, they will copy by value. But sometimes when we have object, right? So dummy is okay because dummy actually is a static object. So that's why when you have static object using the equal sign to assign, they will just copy. They will create another object to copy. But here, if you have a pointer to refer to, the pointer equal to another pointer, then they will refer to the old dynamic memory. So that's very dangerous. So that's why here we need to have another constructor. Here is we call the copy constructor. So since that's the constructor, right? So that's why they are still called the dynamic array. But this copy constructor, we will pass in another object. So this another object is what? Is the dynamic object. So that's why we pass in another dynamic object by reference. So and again, so since we pass in another object by reference, right? So don't forget now your dynamic array, actually the whole function is this one. So that's why when they pass in, I still need to pass in the same cap, the same data type. And since we are passing the object by reference, So then whenever you try to passing by reference, we need to be careful. Do we allow to make the change? If we don't allow to make the change, we always need to put the constant reference. So that's why this one is our copy constructor function. So this one is copy constructor function prototype, right? So how should we implement the copy constructor function? So that's why here that start implement the copy constructor function. So remember, you need to have everything here, right? So we need to have, remember, every function is template function. So we need to copy all of that. But copy constructor, no return type, so still like this. So then here, you need to implement that. So you implement that, you pass in by reference. So that's why here we need to have the argument for the dynamic array, the source object. So maybe we just call their original. Okay, so then you have original, that's the object you will copy from. So what should we copy? Like earlier I said, only the private data attribute is resides in the object. So on the other hand, we just need to copy from the host object these three attributes. We need to copy from the original. Good. So the first thing, that's copy cap first. So then you can write this cap. We just say this is this cap. So this cap will equal to the original cap. So that's the object. So then we're using the dot to refer to the cap. So again, you need to create, you see, your values is the values, right? So that's why I copy the capacity first. So that's why now when we create the values, so you can do values or this value either way, that's up to you. Okay, so then this value or the values equal to new, okay, since we need to create our new array. So the same thing, you need to have your T. Okay, so the size is what? Good. So since here you already have your cap, right? So you can do this cap. You only have one cap because this cap or cap, they are all the same one as this one because no variable use the same one. Okay, so almost okay, right? But here, after you create the dynamic array, they are empty value. So that's why, again, you need to have a for loop. So the for loop will assign the value one by one. But since you will copy your each array element should be copied from your original. So that's why be careful. We need to using the original. That's the object name, right? So that's why there I need to copy over to my values for my host element. So your original is the object name. So then we refer to, they have the values as well. So that's why it is original values. So then this each element value need to equal to our host value each element. So then you see here, right? We have value, we have cap, then dummy. Dummy actually, if we want to copy or not copy, really doesn't matter because the dummy actually is just a placeholder. But if you want, you can just the same thing using the original dummy to make the copy. But this one actually is not really necessary. So that's our copy constructor. Yeah, you can post a video to see if that all makes sense to you or not. So after the copy constructor, so the next one will be assignment operator. So the copy constructor and assignment operator, the only difference is we're using assignment operator is when you already create an object, then you want to assign them. So this one, like earlier we say here, for example, you create an A, you create an B. So actually B and A, they already exist, but then you assign A to B again. So that's why assignment operator, if we want to write, assignment operator actually is an overloaded operator function. So that's why here you will see the example. Assignment operator actually is operator assignment function. So then the same thing, since we is a template function. So that's why we need to have a template. And also assignment operator is an operator function, right? So that's why you need to have your passing argument and the return type. So that's why here you will see your passing argument is your original, your source object. Then you need to have the return type is your object reference. Why? You see again this one. Go back to see this one we show you. Okay, you see you already have an array A, you already have an array B. So when we assign B to A, actually B to A is the B called the assignment operator function. We're using this A as the resource. So this A is, earlier we say the passing argument is the original. Then this B need to be assigned. So that's why it is your return reference for your object. So that's why your copy constructor or assignment operator, they will be look like this. Okay, so then we can write in our header file. Okay, so here that's write our copy constructor. Assignment operator, copy constructor we finish. So assignment operator, remember, function name is operator. So the same thing, you see the argument is the same as our copy constructor. Okay, you see you have the resource, or you have the source. So then continue, you need to have your return type. So your return type actually is the array name, right? Because you have your dynamic array. Your return type, you will return the same array type as the reference. So that's why here this one is assignment operator prototype. So in order to implement assignment operator, actually they are very similar to our copy constructor because we just need to make a copy. So the same thing here, just copy the whole thing. Then we'll show you the difference. The difference is the constructor, the function name is different. That should be assignment operator. So then the return type, don't forget, the return type is our dynamic array. Assignment operator, right, we should copy the whole thing from the original. So that's why, right, we still need to have this cap equal to original cap. But the different thing is, before we do that, right, we need to be careful is, we already have two objects already. So that's why you assign, that means you have the original source object, but you also have your own host object is already there. So that's why before you create a new one, you need to delete yourself first, right? Because you already have something, so that's why you need to delete yourself first, right? So that's why you have that clean. So that's why we can copy the new one. So that's why actually you need to delete your original dynamic array. So then you copy the original cap to your this cap. So then you see since you have your new cap, right? So your new value, you will recreate the new array. So the same thing, your new array, of course, you need to using a for loop to copy one by one. So then the dummy, if you want, you can copy a dummy. So that's why assignment operator looks similar to the copy constructor. But the different thing is, you see, you already have your object. So in order to recreate your array, you need to delete your array first. Then you copy over. But one thing is, you will see here, after we're done, right? Okay, we need to return because you have your data type is dynamic array data type. So actually you need to return yourself. Okay, so that's why you have the return type the same. But also we need to make sure, check one thing. So all of that, we need to add one thing at the beginning. That's what we need to make sure this is not equal to the original. So we don't want to do not a self copy.